Hi there everyone, and welcome back to another very exciting chess game by Bobby Fischer once again. And in this chess game his opponent was Vasil Panov. The Caro-Kann defense Panov Botvinnik attack is named after him, which is also known as the Panov attack of the Caro-Kann defense. So he was a strong chess master, a Soviet chess master. So this was from 1967. So let's see what happened in this chess game. Fischer's opponent is a pretty tough nut to crack. So Fischer starts the game with e4, we have c6, and Panov is playing his specialty, the Caro-Kann defense. So he was an expert in the Caro-Kann defense. Knight to f3, d takes on e4, knight takes on e4, knight to f6, and we have the two knights variation of the Caro-Kann, and now we are exchanging the knights. E takes on f6, bishop to c4, developing the pieces, both players castle, d4, bishop to e6, and Bobby Fischer simply captured the bishop and creating this isolated pawn on e6. So immediately charging to the weakness, and black is defending that, and then c4, knight to a6, bishop to d2, queen to d7, and activating the pieces, and Bobby Fischer captured the bishop with the pawn and not with the queen, and not allowing this pawn to stay as an isolated queen's pawn. And also you can see that this is cementing the d pawn and also defending the key square of b4. So we have knight to c7 and then a4. Capturing the pawn would be a blunder of an amateur because of trapping the queen immediately. So we have a4 and then b6, h3, rook over, and then rook up, lifting to rook up, and then a6, queen back, and you can see that queen is eyeing on h7. So we have b5 and exchanging the pawns, and then knight to d2. So Bobby Fischer's idea was very simple actually. So rook over, rook to e1, lifting to rook up, and then activating the other rook as well, bringing the big gun out. So both of his rooks is going to be very active. So we have rook over, and Bobby Fischer doesn't want to exchange the rooks. So Bobby Fischer says, I'm going to eat your Caro-Kann defense for the breakfast, and I can also eat Soviet chess grandmasters for the breakfast. Bobby Fischer was extremely confident, arrogantly confident, so that was his attitude. And because of his confidence, he actually played pretty well. So he had actually pretty strong mentality because of that. And we have queen to d5 and simply rook to h4, and Fischer is attacking on h7. So how to defend this? So in this critical moment, Panov played queen to f5, which was not the best move. But it is easy to say right now when you are sitting in front of your computer. Actually, f5 should have been considered. It would be more solid. So we have queen to f5, but this allowed, as you can see, knight to e4. So knight is getting in, and the knight is getting one step closer to the king side. And at the correct moment, Fischer is going to lift the other rook up and then attack his opponent relentlessly. So we have e5 and then lifting the rook up, and finally Bobby Fischer is attacking the queen. So black has to be careful. And look at this. All of the pieces of Bobby Fischer, the knight and both of his rooks, is basically aiming the king or the king side, and also the queen is indirectly aiming the king or the king side. So this looks like Bobby Fischer has an incredibly active position, and black has to be careful in this position. So for example, if something like queen to g6, then knight takes check and winning the queen, which is going to be a discovery attack to the queen. So we have queen to h7 by the inventor of the Panov Botvinnik attack of the Caro-Kann. And it is white to move. What would you do in this position? White has a very strong move, and Bobby Fischer finally attacks his opponent. But how to attack? What would you do if you had the white pieces? Okay, so Fischer played, did you see the move? Knight takes on f6, forking the king and the queen, so black has to accept the sacrifice, but this opened the g file, that's check, and black can't go to the left, otherwise queen takes queen. So black stays close to the queen, but then rook up, rook to g6, and that's all she wrote. Smashing, crashing, dashing, attacking chess game by Bobby Fischer, and how to defend rook takes on h6, winning the queen. And if the obvious defense, h5, then queen to f5, and how to defend rook takes or queen takes on f6, and then checkmating the king. So if defending with the knight, then we have queen takes, only defense, and white has won another very strong move. Did you see that? Rook takes on h5, the queen is pinned, and if capturing the rook, defender elimination move, and then we capture the knight, check, mate, everything is pinned, disaster everywhere. And another one bites the dust against Bobby Fischer, and Bobby Fischer indeed eats his Soviet chess master opponent for the breakfast. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So thank you very much for watching. And what do you think about this chess game of Bobby Fischer? He was extremely dominant. So he was basically defeating his opponents like that, very easily. So take care, stay safe, and bye-bye.